Hello everyone, it's Zanaya, the time management consultant, and I wanted to give you just a few things to consider before you start scheduling or habit building or goal setting as we head into the new year. Of course, these apply at any time, but the new year is right around the corner, and I know lots of folks will be setting New Year's resolutions and goals and plans and all these things for the stuff that they want to get done in 2026. So it felt like an appropriate time to do a video about this. So what I mean when I say pre-work, if I said that, I think I did, but maybe I didn't. This is kind of pre-work before you start setting your SMART goals or figuring out what practices you want to develop or what projects you want to work on. And I think they're really important steps because sometimes we are so eager to start working on what we're wanting to work on that we forget that there is prep work that needs to be done. The same as if you were about to cook a meal or bake a cake or put together a cabinet or build something. There are things you need to put into place or set up or prepare so that it's easier for you to do the work that you need to do and work towards your goals without being hindered by the lack of pre-work or setup that was done in advance. So I'm going to give you 5 things that may help you to set yourself up for success a little bit better, and a bonus 6th thing. So first thing you might want to do is make a list. You're just going to brain dump, as they say. Write down everything that you think you might want to work on this year. This includes things you just want to do for fun, creative endeavors, health endeavors, professional, whatever it is. You just want to get everything out of your head and onto paper. Part of this is just kind of separating it from the mental space and making it more real by putting it on paper and making it physical. We think a lot. Most of us do. We think a lot. We ruminate on things. We always have some thoughts floating around. So when we just kind of think through things, it can get kind of muddled and it can be hard to really outline what you need to do step by step. So writing it down is a good way to clear your mind, free up some mental space, get everything out on paper. The next thing you want to do with this list, so you're going to make the list. And the second thing you want to do is determine if you can actually make progress or do something about the thing on your list. What I mean by that is sometimes we have things on our list that we can't do anything about. It's something we would like to change or something that we would like to see be different, but we personally on our own don't necessarily have the power to change that thing. So if you have anything on your list that falls into the realm of this is not something I can actually take action towards and do something about, you want to cross those things off your list. Now you might put those on a new list. These could be things that you are taking to a prayer space, a manifestation space, just I can't do anything about this space. If you have a spiritual or religious practice, those things might be better suited for that space where you're relying on other tools, strategies, or maybe a higher self, a higher power, something like that to make change. So we only want things on this list that you can actually take action towards. So that's number 2. Determine whether or not you can actually do something about this thing that's on your list. I actually kind of mixed 2 and 3 together. So 2 was determine whether or not you can do anything. 3 was the things you can't do anything about. Depending on your spiritual or religious practice, they may go, to another area for you to address in a different way than what we're going to talk about here. The next thing you want to do, 4, I think we're on, is prioritize your list. So up to this point, we just have a list, and on that list, you've noted whether or not you can do anything about that thing that's on your list. And you might have even noted, well, we'll get to that. That's another step. Whether or not you can do anything, we've done that. We haven't prioritized up to this point. You do want to prioritize what's most important, what's least important. You want to kind of put it in some kind of rough structure where you know the things that are at the top of your list and at the bottom of your list. And then the 5th thing that you can do is ask yourself, am I already working towards this goal? Sometimes we have things on the list that we're already working towards. We're already doing something about it. We're already taking steps. And we really just need to maintain what we're already doing. Sometimes we're already taking action, but we realize we need to do something different. So, yes, you may already be doing something, but you may also need to make some adjustments. There may be things on the list where you haven't done anything about it yet. So, it may take a little bit more time when you're doing the goal setting part to figure out how you're going to break down the action steps for that particular thing on your list. But you want to determine whether or not you're already working towards this thing, or if you're going to need to establish a whole, new habit building, goal setting plan to work towards whatever is on your list. And the other thing I would say I would include in step 5 of asking if you're already doing something, step 5 might actually be just to start asking questions. You want to know if you're already working on it, but you might also start looking at it and determining, do I have my list in the right order? We might have prioritized things in a certain way, but as we're kind of looking at things, we realize, okay, what I have as number 2, while it would be extremely fun, it's not as urgent as the thing I have listed on, number 4. So maybe this is 6. Maybe this is 6. You want to go back through your list and decide whether or not you have prioritized things correctly. This might require you to start asking questions like, is this thing urgent or not urgent? Is it important or not important? These are questions from the Eisenhower matrix, if you are familiar with that tool. Obviously, things that are urgent should be higher on the priority list than things that are not urgent or maybe not important. So you might want to do a little bit of that with your list to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success with your list and you're taking care of the things that most need to be taken care of. The other thing is asking whether or not you are procrastinating in some way, because we do that sometimes. Maybe something feels too big, or it's scary, or it's going to require a lot, and so we've now placed it lower on the list when really it needs to have a higher priority based on what you need to do for yourself and your long-term goals and what you want, or maybe your responsibilities, obligations, all of those things. So go back over your list and see if you've actually set it up in a way that makes sense for you. Another question, this is still 6 because 6 is going to be just asking questions. So is this do you have projects on your list or practices? Because projects and practices are 2 very different things. Projects, at least the way I describe it, a project is something that's time limited. It's something you would use a SMART goal for. It's something that has a clear end date. You have steps you can take. You take those steps, you're going to achieve this goal. It's a project. A practice might be something related to, let's say, exercising or your diet. You are never going to be done with these things. You're never going to be done exercising and moving your body and taking care of your body. You'll never be done making sure you're eating appropriately and eating enough or not eating too much of certain things to keep your body healthy. So while you may have a project around diet and exercise and that sort of thing, really, it's a practice. You're trying to develop a habit. It's going to be a lifelong thing. And when we're setting up a practice versus a project, we might do those in very different ways. If you're interested in a video about that, I can definitely talk more about it. I feel like I maybe have a video somewhere in the library about that already. But when you're looking at your list, are you dealing with projects? Are you dealing with practices? Because how you handle those things may be different. So step 6, start asking questions to really make sure you created a realistic list, meaning it reflects your priorities, the things that are important to you, the things that you want to work on, and you've set it up in a way that you can be successful and you are, clear about where you want to give your time and attention. And so since I added step 6, we're going to move on to step 7. This was supposed to only be 5 things to consider before you start setting goals and whatnot, and we're on 7. So we're just going to roll with it. 7, know your limits. Most of us will not be able to work on everything that we want to work on at once or do everything that we want to do at once. We will try, many of us, and we sometimes do ourselves a disservice and sometimes cause ourselves harm trying to do way more than we have the time, space, capacity, nervous system, resources to do. So go back and look at your list again and ask yourself, Is this realistic? Is this list something that I can manage while still taking care of myself, managing my other daily living tasks, other responsibilities, that sort of thing, and go from there. Don't over, exert yourself trying to do too much. You might only work on one or two things from your list, and depending on how those go, you might add something else in. You may only be able to work on one thing. Everybody's different. So make sure that you are keeping yourself and your well-being at the center as you're thinking about the things that you want to work on for the year. So I'm going to do my best to do a little recap, because I feel like I kind of, I got through everything, but I started adding in steps and all the things. And so let's see if we can just streamline it a little bit. One, you want to brain dump. Write a list, get it all out, the things that you want to work on, just write it down. And that's your step one. Step two is to note whether or not you can actually do anything about the thing on your list. Sometimes there are things we want to work on, things we want to change, that we just don't have the resources, capacity, or power to actually do anything about. So, step two, can you do anything about this thing or not? Step three, if you decide that some of the things on your list, you can't do anything about them, you can't take any action towards these things, they might go to a separate space. If you have a religious practice, a spiritual practice, anything like that, those things might go into that arena. Step four, you want to prioritize your list. When we made the list, we just kind of put it all out there. We didn't prioritize it, but now you might want to prioritize that list. What's most important, what's least important, what's urgent, what's not urgent. Step five is to ask more questions. So I already mentioned in step four, is it important, not important, urgent, not urgent, which is an Eisenhower matrix strategy. Are you prioritizing well? Are you procrastinating? Is this a project? Is it a practice? Start kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of the things on your list. Five, ask if you're already working towards the things on your list. Sometimes we have things on the list that we're already working on. We're already doing the things, but maybe we need to pivot and approach it from a different, path, or in a different way. Or maybe there are things on the list that you've done nothing towards this goal at all. If it's something you're starting from scratch, you might have a little bit more work in front of you as you're setting up your goal or outlining your tasks for that particular thing on your list. So 6, 7, you want to know your limits. So make sure that you are setting yourself up for success by considering your capacity, your resources, your well-being when you're thinking about which of these goals you have, or which of these things on your list you actually want to set actionable steps and goals for in the new year or as you move forward. And it's really important to do that step, because sometimes we overextend ourselves trying to do way too much or way more than we're capable of, and we end up causing ourselves harm. So when I recapped, I know I missed something, but I like the six steps that we ended up with. If you'd like me to do videos on any of those steps and talk more about it, comment, let me know. I'll do my best to do that. You can follow me here on YouTube. I'm on TikTok and Facebook. I have a Pinterest as well. I have a journal, some books that are up on Amazon that'll be in the description box. I have an accountability group. We meet once a week to work on goals. We meet once a month to set goals. We just work on the things that we need to work on, and we provide support for one another as we're doing that. So if you're interested in something like that heading into the new year, that information will also be in the description box below. So I feel out of breath. I feel like I did not take a good breath the whole time I was talking. I hope that's helpful for you. If you have questions or would like me to go into more depth about any of these steps, put it in the comments. I'll be happy to do that. Happy New Year. Bye.